That's cosmic. And they're not going to stop. It's funny they're doing this because I'm like not in a very dynamic space right now. I should have had a cup of coffee or something. I just did an all-night meditation the night before. So I slept. I woke up Sunday morning. Next time I went to sleep was Monday night. But I slept. I mean, I woke up and packed the car, got the kids in, and then got everyone out to come teach this class. I slept, but I'm in kind of a spacey place right now. These are all verbs. So believe it or not, all I'm trying to get to you is two major things. But we'll get there. We're getting there a little slowly. But there's a third name that I'd like to share with you, and that's the name Shin. I'm putting the spaces so I can erase it. Otherwise, you're not allowed to erase these names. So Shin, Dalet, and Yud. What's the word Dai mean in Hebrew? It means enough. Stop or enough. It's enough. Like if someone's pouring you a glass, you can say Dai. That's enough. Okay? And what's the prefix She? It could be if it means that. Yeah, word She means that. So what is it together? That it's enough. And you know what this does? This is what creates order in creation. Meaning, this is the expansive causative, which is chaos. Right? When things expand, when you shoot things into a system of chaos, there's entropy. Things get chaos. And the Shin and the Dal and the Yud is Shed Dai, that it's enough is what causes order. Meaning if Shin, Dalet, and Yud got taken out of this class right now, if this name was removed from just this class, we'd all go into a blender. This whole room would get blended together. Our whole solar system would fly off its axis right now. So the Shin, Dalet, all the names of God are verbs in our names of God. We don't have a name of God that's a noun, even though we use it in the sentence as a noun. But they're actually not really nouns. There's no name of God that's a noun. And what's cool about that is that a being that has no space or time connected to it, it's completely unknowable. It's really essentially nothing. That kind of being, it just doesn't have a name Because what name would you give a being that's nothing? There's no name for it. God has no name. It means nothing, but symbolically for us, we'll think of H2O when we hear that name. You understand? It doesn't. The word water or Wasser does not mean water. It is a symbol that causes our brains to think about H2O when we hear it. Hebrew is different. Hebrew is the actual, it is the thing itself. That's why you'll notice there's two hydrogens. Mem is hydrogen and one oxygen. It's literally made of water. Meaning the word itself is the thing itself. Or the sun is a burning ball of hydrogen, which is the Shemesh. But there's no Hebrew name of God. They're all just verbs that explain how the interaction is going with how God's interacting with creation. Now, let's get back up here. So you have two names of God going on at all times. You have the name of God that's beyond space and time, causing space and time. And that's, again, the name of chaos, expansion. And then you have the name Elohim, which is how God fills space and time. And the reason it's in the plural with the Yud and Mem at the end, the reason it's in the plural is because the space and time has a lot of stuff in it. There's a lot of molecules in here. There's a lot of cups, a lot of people, a lot of fabrics, in this room. Is that clear? There's a lot of detail in the creation. That's why we have a plural name of how God fills creation. And now you understand, did any of you, probably none of you ever thought for a second, did any of you ever think for a second why we have two names of God every time we make a blessing? Probably not. I didn't either. I grew up, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. We just thought that's a blessing. But there's two totally separate names of God there, which is strange. And we call them four things, by the way. Atah is you. Hashem, surrounding space and time. Elokeinu, filling space and time. And we call him a king. By the way, of all those four, which one do you think's the holiest? You, Hashem, Elokeinu, and Melech. Which one do you think is the holiest?
What does Melech mean?
Melech means king.
King.
Maybe king, Hashem, yeah.
I would say Melech because it connects everything. So
Right, he's the one running it all.
yeah, exactly.
Melech's super special. Especially the word ha'olam. What's the word olam mean? World. What else does it mean? What does it mean when we say lo'olam u'lo'me'al maya? Lo'olam.
Infinite.
Ani ohev otcha lo'olam. I love you lo'olam. What's it mean?
Infinite.
It means infinite or forever. It really means forever. So it means world, it means forever, and there's another word it means. You know what else it means? I'll use it in a sentence. Ne'elam li et ha'et sheli. Ne'elam li. Olam. Ne'elam. Hidden. Hidden. So isn't that interesting? The word for world is the same word for hidden. It's pretty interesting. Why? Because can God create a world that he's not? No. But what he can do is hide himself inside the world. So now the king is hidden. Melech haolam means the eternal king. It means the king of the world. And it also means the hidden king. Which is really cool. Because can you do anything that God wouldn't let you do? No. Can you do anything that, he's a king. He can't, there's nothing you could do that wouldn't let you do. And there's nothing you can't do that, meaning God's running the show. There's nothing you can do that he doesn't let you do. Yet, he pulls out, so to speak, and lets you choose and do. That's the thing. Because you can't make a move without him, yet every move you make is like it's without him. Yeah, no, it's not the answer. He answered Melech. So the Kabbalists tell us, I'll take a question in a sec. The Kabbalists tell us that the holiest of all the words is Atah. You know why? Atah doesn't mean anything. It's just the essence. You know, like for example, what's your name?
Eliyahu.
If Eliyahu, I wouldn't say, would Eliyahu like a cup of water? I would say, would you like a cup of water? But where does that you begin and end? What is that you? Think about it. What's different between Eliyahu and Basha? Masha. What's the difference between Eliyahu and Masha? I mean, really, what's the difference? I mean, in an MRI, they would show up differently. Their names are clearly different on their passports. But she's not a Masha and he's not an Eliyahu. That's not what's going to show up on an MRI, that's for sure. And your names are not going to be in there. So all that's left is really your essence, which is the word you. We speak to each other's essence. Like whenever we say the word you, we're really talking about the essence of the person. And so God has an unknowable essence. There's a great Kabbalist in Jerusalem, someone who he did not sleep for over 50 years at one point. He never slept in a bed. I mean, people have seen him pass out standing. He wouldn't let him sleep in a chair, but standing, he wouldn't mind dozing off a little bit. I asked him a question once and he dozed off. Standing. I asked him a question, he just went. And just stood there asleep right in front of me. And then after about 30 seconds, he went. And he answered the question. So, anyway, this great rabbi, Amshanova rabbi, I forget his real name, but he's the Hasidic master of the group called Amshanov. Anyway, when he says atah, you know what he does when he says atah? He says it over and over again sometimes. Sometimes he says it once, but sometimes he says it multiple times. You know why? Because while he said it, his brain thought of some concept of God, which is not atah. Atah's essence, not concept. The concept of someone is not their essence. It's a concept of someone. And so if his mind goes somewhere for who God might be, when he says the word atah, he'll repeat it again.
But that means that he believes he knows the essence so he can address it, or?
No, he knows we don't know the essence, but he wants to stay in that don't know space. And because it's hard for us to relate to things that have no ability. And especially to call out to it, like saying Baruch Atah, where you are addressing it. How can your mind not go somewhere? So if his mind goes somewhere, he tries again. He's really fun to watch on YouTube. You can go to Rebbe. You just will not believe what you'll see there of him making blessings, because they managed to video him at various times, like under the chuppah of his grandchild and stuff. It's quite interesting. He hits other words a lot too. Like,
Is he married?
what?
Is he married?
He's married, yeah. He has like 12 kids. Yeah. Didn't say he doesn't use a bed. I just said he doesn't sleep in one. I couldn't hold back. Now, listen, so a couple questions. I realize, Elia, you still have your question, or we're still giggling over my last joke? To navigate. And you have to drink enough that your brain's not a good indicator of reality, so that you leave reality. Because the reality is God. God's name never shows up. How can you have a book in the Tanakh without God's name? Except, how does it show up in there? How does it show up in the Purim story? With the word melech, which says melech a lot. But if it doesn't say Ach, it just says the melech, the Megillah was hinting what God was up to whenever it says the word melech. Melech is the hiddenness of God, the hiding God. You had a question?
Yeah,
What's your name?
Gabi.
Gabi, yeah.
I think it's understand the concept of the compartments, different names.
Outer and in,
Yeah.
or the name part, or both?
Sorry?
Both, how I compartmentalized here, or that there's separate names? The whole thing.
But I mean, I understood what you're saying, but I just haven't figured out what sense does it make. I mean,
What's the practical difference?
No, the
No.
concept behind it. Like, why are there like 4 different names?
There's many, many more names. There's like
why are there
lots of names. What?
Why are there many?
Because it's how all the names, I'll say it again. I remember I said earlier all names of God are verbs.
Yeah.
So all those names of God are how God relates to us. I have many names too. To some people they call me Yomi, some call me Yom Tov, some call me Rabbi,
You mean like role?
some call me Sweetheart.
Right, okay.
One person calls me. My mom might call me Sweetheart too. So my wife and there's a lot of names and a lot of interactions I'm having. So God's also interacting with creation. He's interacting with creation sometimes in a very rough, exacting justice way. And sometimes he's being super, what's the right word? Gentle, I guess. Kind of turning away from what's going on earth so that he doesn't have to get rough with us. God prefers not to be rough. Yeah.
What about Adonai, which is a very, very commonly used?
So that name just means master. It's more like saying almighty. We don't say the word, by the way, unless it's okay. But what we say when we're talking is Adna, Shem Adna. So Adna means my master. And we use that term for whenever we see this one, because we're not allowed to say this one. And so we look at these letters while we say the word Adna, which means master. So it means master. And it means like, it's the running the show, basically. The word Adna means the one who's running the show. And we say it when we look at this, which is, by the way, it doesn't make a ton of sense that we say that we look at this while we say that name. Because this name is a wild name, and it's so much more than master. If you look at that, I'll teach you a little secret about Kabbalah. Is you have a baseline, right? Like every sentence words have a baseline at the bottom. And then you have the upper. So the upper represents spiritual, and the lower represents the physical. The physical. And so if you look at God's name, you'll see that you have the Yud, right? What kind of letter is that? Spiritual or physical? Totally spiritual. And what it represents is an idea, pure idea.
What does this letter mean?
What?
Spirit.
Spiritual. Yeah, and so for example, I'm a total Yud. I'm a Yud personality. There's actually people with a personality for every letter of God's name. So I'm a Yud personality. Think it. And I have an amazing consultant from Brazil. He actually lives in Australia. He's a Hey personality. And every letter, by the way, begins with the Yud. See that Yud at the top? It starts with the Yud, and then there's the Hey. Hey represents dimension. So like God can say, hey, I want to create, but in that point of the Yud's like a point, is every possible thing to create. I mean, you could create a lot of things. This world's one option. I mean, there could be other planets out there in other galaxies with totally different setups. Maybe more gravity, maybe less gravity, maybe you can see God more.
What about the letter Lamed? It's even higher than you.
Yeah, Lamed's a very interesting letter. Lamed it's not yours yet. It's not even near you either. And what happens is in Lamed, you learn something that's even above it. Now, we want to hear something really cool about Lamed is, I'll make it here, is that the Lamed really, let's say it starts up there. It's really coming right to here, which is what a Vav is. A Lamed's really just a Vav. Here you got your Yud, right? But then you got the Vav, okay? That's a Vav. And the Lamad's the same because it's going to wind up here. Except what? A good teacher will in such a way that you yourself make this circuitous journey of developing your own knowledge base. Meaning a real good teacher is going to give you info in such a way that it's not a force-fed thing, but a thing that gets integrated while you're busy working it out. Like, those are great teachers. They give you the chance to work something out. And that's true learning. I mean, yeah, that's a masterful teacher who's going to be able to do that. And they'd need a semester with you. And it's not like my class, I'm with you 1 hour. It's like I just got to give you the info. And so I'm taking ideas and I'm putting them down to their earth. I'm bringing them down to earth. But your learning process, just like Gabi, for example, I said stuff. He's like, can you repeat it, or can you say it in a different way or something? Because he's in a learning process right now. And all of you are going to wind up back in wherever you're from in Germany. And at that point, you're going to have to integrate. And that's learning. That's going to be your true learning. Because all the stuff you got here that you think you learned only really means something, on a practical level if you integrate it. I mean, everything has to, in life, things have to integrate. I know today's generation thinks they don't have to integrate anything, but that's not true. It means nothing if you don't integrate it. It's just information. It is mental masturbation. You understand? It doesn't mean anything. It has no practical difference if you don't integrate it. That's how important integration is. But that's also the scary thing about learning is, check out our exit sign, everybody. Look at our exit sign up there. It's like not helpful. And you know why we have these Hebrew exit signs that most of our students couldn't read if they wanted to? Is because there is no exit for information. There is no exit. There's stuff we probably all seen that we wished exited, but it doesn't exit. And so we want to integrate. We want to integrate what's going on in our lives so that it made a difference. And also the scary thing when you get back to Germany is to lose stuff you think you integrated. Will be literally like someone took a bite out of you, like an apple missing a chunk. But to lose something you integrated is a painful situation. You don't want to lose stuff you integrated. Well, I guess that means you didn't integrate it, really. But hey, we could lose anything. We're such victims of environment. Our environments are so powerful. I always tell people that, I tell my students here that everyone has a certain amount of time they should study in Jerusalem. Like, let's say, for example, what's your name? Let's say Feigi's. If I got to know Feigi a bit, I'd say, Feigi, 3 months in Israel, you'll be fully integrated. I could come back to Germany 2 years from now, you'll still be totally integrated with what you learned. And then I meet Alex, and I say, Alex, anything less than 5 months in Israel, you're gonna lose it in weeks when you get back to Germany. Everyone has an amount of time where something integrates, but you need the environment to integrate it. And there are, by the way, there are microenvironments in Germany. I don't know who's near your house, but like there are little microenvironments. Maybe a family that keeps Shabbos nearby, and you can go be at their meals, or maybe your parents do Shabbos, but not really Shabbos. So it's like you could be there at the beginning, and then when everyone is kind of dispersing, you can head over to a house nearby that is doing Shabbos. And then the likelihood of texting before you go to bed is very low because you've been with that family and now you're tired and you've had a couple shots of vodka or something, and so maybe I'll just go to bed. And you made it all the way to Shabbos morning.
12.
It's 12, thank you. So let's just finish God's name. So the Yud is pure idea. The Hey is dimension of idea, because the Yud is like the whole creation in one dot, in one point, which is very big bangy. And you ever heard that adjective, big bangy? So it's very big bangy. And But literally inside that dot is the DNA of all potential, right? Everything's in there, and that's the hay.
Why is the hay like the symbol of dimension? Because it has a spiritual level, then it goes down to the physical level, and then it has a separate dot. So
Which is where things get implemented anyway. So it's it's got this dimension that it's not really drawing to here, it's drawing to here, which is not the right spot. It's kind of over. And then that's like, well,
but they're not connected.
right. It's just our symbol for dimension. I've asked my Rebbe. I didn't get an answer that he gave an answer. I don't think I understood it. But hay represents dimension always. You want to see how? Check this out. Vav is an implementer. These guys are Vav personalities. My staff are Vav personalities. And but he's got a bit of a hay personality. He's on the phones. Yeah? Which is, what's that? The final hay. The final hay is the dimension, like, have you ever been to an Apple store? Who are those overly friendly people? Those are final hay people. What is the manufacturing and shipping going on in China for Apple? Those are the implementers. This is the brainstorming people for next September, this September. This is the R&D people who figure, can we do that? Maybe we want to wait on that. Is it going to turn a profit? What's the competition? Meaning, there's just ideas. So this is me. This is my guy from Brazil. This is a whole team of people. A production manager named Mike with a real six-pack on this stuff. He's like a bodybuilder there. Our production manager. And then we got the guys doing production. He's mostly our implementer, Yosef. And then the final hay guy is, I do a lot of final hay work, obviously, because I'm the one who's showing up on the screen, but he's on the phones speaking to people and stuff. But you realize God's name is in every single product. It's in everything that ever happens. So it's that's why, by the way, this is a long-winded version of why it's a funny name to call the master. I mean, you see the mastery, but it's a strange name to call the master because there's so much going on there in that name. You ever thought about God's name like that?
No.
It's pretty cool, right?
Only because he did all those steps, he's all of them.
Yes, he is all those steps, which is wild. He's the surrounding and he's the filling. He's the tortilla and he's the rice and beans. Okay? Now, what I'd like to finish with is this word. And this word is the shin and the dalet and the yud. Where does that word show up commonly in Jewish daily life? Yeah? Excellent, on the mezuzah. Every mezuzah has the parchment inside, the actual parchment has that printed on the back of the parchment. Shin, dalet, and yud. And many boxes that we put the parchment in have the shin and dalet and yud. Why? Why on the door? And so the answer is your home represents order. In life, home is order. Outside your home's a world of chaos, hopefully with some order. Germany, way more order than any other country in the world. But I mean, you guys, like, you in Switzerland are probably, and maybe Scandinavia, are like super ordered compared to the rest of the world. But it's not as ordered as your home, hopefully. And it's important your home's in order. And I make my bed in the morning just to start my day with some order. There's some semblance of order that I started my day with. Because the day can get chaotic, but at least it started with some order. And so when you leave your house, and when you leave Israel, touch a mezuzah when you leave your house. Say, I'm leaving the order of my house. My house is a Jewish house. This house has certain things that the streets of Germany don't have. The streets of Germany does not have what my house has. And I'm leaving Israel, and even my house in Germany doesn't have what the houses in Israel has. And this is the name of order. And you want to implement the order and assert the order that you've learned in Israel onto your life in Germany. And if you can't do it, so then thank God you're only in Europe. You just fly back here and study Judaism in the environment where it's easier, because we're so influenced that you can just study in this environment. It's a very easy airplane flight, and it's like 1 hour difference or 2 hour difference.
1 hour.
It's a 1 hour difference. It's like a no-brainer. If I were you guys, I would be here once a month probably. Yeah, I fly 2 to 3 times a month, or some months I fly 3 times. Some months. How much a flight?
Like Ryanair, €25. So
It's a mistake to think you don't live in Israel if you live in Germany. Meaning you could really live here and spend half your time there and half your time here. If you have a week off, if you had a week off, why would you not just come and study for the week and have a great Shabbos? It was like €27.
it's about living here.
No, here you just take the first van to Tzfat or to Jerusalem, and you just hang out.
Where?
On the street.
On the street. People will take you in like that. Like you'll be. That's what we did when we got here. We just you go to Tzfat. He's going tomorrow. You have plans? No plans. You need no plans. You let God. Once you're in Israel, you let God run your itinerary. Where you're staying, where you're eating, what's going to be. It's Jewish people. Like, we don't have a homeless problem. We have no unemployment. You know, we're one of the only countries with 0 unemployment. Because we consider begging an employment. Just kidding. That was just kidding. Yeah. I'm going. Shalom, everybody. It was a pleasure. What's that? Yeah, anyone wants to be in touch with me, you might want to take my WhatsApp number. Get ready for WhatsApp. I help a lot of people online. It's plus 972.